Hello again, thank you for joining me for another video. So I have been contemplating making a video like this for a while, and it's just a topic that's kind of hard to talk about. So people who have trauma in their childhood or extensive trauma that occurs repeatedly in adulthood can also cause the same thing, can have disruptions in their nervous systems, which makes a Kundalini awakening incredibly difficult. And I wanted to offer some of the things that I wish that I had been hearing when I was going through it. One of the worst things that the feedback there's a few things that were like pretty horrible feedback, but some of them, was about basically that you're not going to experience a state of enlightenment until you deal with your trauma. And it's put on you in such a way that it feels impossible. What you need is to feel better, and it feels like you don't get to feel better until you feel better. And there's this little vicious cycle that you can get caught in, this little looping bunch of bullshit that you can get caught in. Try not to get caught in that. Obviously, you need to heal yourself to feel better. You can get assistance with this. Actually, since the last awakening that I had, which was the physical Kundalini awakening, the full bore one, I had earlier mini versions of it, and this was the full bore one. And so I've been helped. I wasn't like abandoned to face all of these things by myself. And I had a gas pedal and I had a brake, and I could use them to slow things down or pick things up. But it involves so just understanding that Kundalini is a rewiring of your nervous system. It's like an upgrade to your nervous system. And with that upgrade to your nervous system, you're able to take in information in a different way. So it's highly, highly worth understanding the process if it's something that you think has already started happening in you. I wouldn't push it if you've had severe trauma and it hasn't happened to you naturally. I wouldn't push it. But because some of us come into these bodies with more experience from past lives, it can get triggered and awakened when you're not really in a situation or prepared, but your life isn't all like grand and easy, and now you can just sit in samadhi and you got it and everything's great. Some of us came in maybe for, I don't know, I don't really understand reincarnation, so I would prefer to not even talk about it. I just know that I happen to know things that I don't understand how I know, so maybe it's reincarnation. Don't know. I can't answer that, so I try not to. But the point that I'm trying to make is to understand that the upgrade of the nervous system does 100% make things better, does ease up the trauma. So that Kundalini awakening is going to be dealing with stressors. So you aren't bombarded with overwhelming stressors and unable to experience the peace and bliss that is available to you. That awakened and renewed nervous system, the energy, the spiritual forces that come in to help you, it's kind of like being supported by a family that you can't really see, and energy and guidance and help. In the early part of it, when there's a lot of purging of the debris, the memories, the thoughts, the beliefs that are stored in your cellular memory, when that is purging, it is ridiculously uncomfortable. And the degree to it, how long that's going to take really depends on how much happened to you before your awakening. If you had decades of pain, you can expect to be at this for 5 years, probably minimum. And going into it, those first couple of years can be so difficult that it's hard to believe you're going to come out. So you need to know that you're going to come out an enlightened being with a mastery over your own nervous system and responses, and capable of holding space for people who really need to know that it's possible to heal from trauma. Because there are not a lot of role models out there where the that have walked out of that hellish emotional landscape that trauma can be into the space of bliss and compassion and strength. And it's this time, they call it, some people refer to it as Kali Yuga. I don't know if that's accurate. I don't really know that level of information, but when I hear the story of Kali and what Kali represents as a goddess, I guess that is the energy that you should understand, or at least can help as a reflection to understand what the experience is like to have that level of spiritual awakening in the face of trauma. Because the spiritual forces are powerful, and the more that you learn to recognize them as your own, you have to be wary of the abilities that come with that, with regard to anger, with regard to rage, with regard to vengeance, with regard to fear. All of these emotions and impulses can be heightened, right? So like the story of Kali, she came out of anger from another goddess and then was killing demons, right? And lapping up their butt and killing all of the demons. So born out of a need, nature's response to demons gone wild, right? And that is that feeling of being traumatized but still being a spiritual person. You're angry. You're angry, and it's like a righteous anger, but you have power, so now you want to do something with it. Also, you want things to get better. You want to protect people. And it's a really intense path to be on, because it is a constant surrendering back into the bliss state. It is holding space for all of that energy and recognizing it, and actually having a little bit of reassurance that there are forces that will act out the vengeance should it be necessary. You can really kind of rest assured that they're there, that you are safe, that you're protected, that that it's alive, that there's a vitality to it, that all hope is not lost. It's not you're not dead in the water. All of those kinds of emotions that go with trauma. It's helpful. It's a helpful process to recognize. But you have to get to the point in the story where Kali, was about to step on Shiva and, continue her murderous rage. Don't step on your own spirit. Don't step on your own consciousness. After a certain point of purging yourself of all of this negativity, the intense rage that you're going to feel. You have to get to the point where you allow the melting and the reminder of the beauty and the purity and the innocence and the light that you are. And so it's like being asked to be the light in dark places. Spiritual awakening, after you've been traumatized, really traumatized in certain ways, they're worse than others, and we all know that. You have to come back to the place of surrender. And it's a little bit scary to get there, because we were innocent, and then the innocence was taken advantage of. And so to come back to this place of innocence once again takes a lot of trust. And if you've had a good spiritual cleansing, if you've really done a good job of coming clean with all of your beliefs, bringing everything to the light constantly, You have to get into a pattern. It's no joke. You have to have a morning routine and an evening routine, and you do that every single day, and you don't ease up on it, and you change your diet, and you get into self-care like nobody's business. You can't skip it. You don't get the easy path. It's the hard path. But what you're bringing in is an energy that actually helps to clean the shit that's happening on earth right now that shouldn't be. And so hold space for yourself. Because it's not always easy to get a whole lot of like correct feedback about it, because people don't understand that it isn't. You can be fully aware of all the same spiritual forces that, you know, any of the greats are talking about, that pure consciousness. You can be fully aware of it while you are also holding space for spiritual energy where there is darkness, and transmuting that. And it's not for the faint of heart. I hold space with you. I know a lot of people don't talk about it, about the full awakening to, you know, watching the force of creation move to clean damage and distortions. And there's a lot of confusion about. I think that's why I don't like reincarnation, because it always implies that it's okay to hurt innocent children because they probably deserved it from a past life. And I think it gets us lazy. It gets us lazy about our responsibility to each other. And I don't like it for that reason. Like, oh, well, I've got it tired this life. I'll catch it next life. I'll talk to God about whatever I need to. You know, I think it's more important to take full stock of reality as it is in front of us. So I've gone way off a tangent here. So keep going. As it comes up, allow it to be purged. Ask for help as often as possible. Make sure that you can hear your own body and you're responding to your body and you're taking care of it. There's going to be different supplements you need. You're going to have to change your diet from here, like different times. Like sometimes you're going to need this kind of food. Other times you need a different one. You have to pay attention to all of that stuff and really know that you're supported in the healing process. After you get a little bit of stability in your physical body, then you will start purging all of the emotional crap, and then you need to like work on your reactions. Have some code words for yourself, some things you could say every time you're scared. You have a guide or a deity or something that you're working with that you feel 100% confident in, that you don't have to be strong in that place, that you're protected in it, that they're going to just fill in whenever you call. Develop something like that if you can, even if it's Mother Nature. You know, you don't have to get weird about it. Whatever works for you, and utilize it as needed, and then talk back to those negative thoughts, because the negative thoughts are, when I had to get to the mental stage where I was cleaning the thoughts out, I think I counted, and like within a 2-hour period I probably had 50 negative thoughts go through my head, talking negatively about myself, and I was not catching them. So it's like as if all of my walls in my room were covered with accusations and finger pointing and everything that was wrong with me. A whole bunch of stuff that wasn't at all wrong with me, but anything that anyone had ever said to me any judgment that anyone made, no matter if they were qualified to make the judgment or not, no matter if they had the right information, that all continued to play, and I had tuned it out. And then spiritual awakening, it's not tuned out anymore. You see it, and it was like, well, like probably 50 statements within a 2 hour period. I couldn't, because I wanted to like catch them and like speak back to them, and I couldn't because they were too many. And so then I had to do massive amounts of just like huge, like I suppose twice a week I was doing just like a huge energy clearing. And I had a group of Reiki practitioners that I met with once a month, and we would do this like chaotic healing where one person would sit in the middle, and then all of that stuff would get cleaned, and there would be supportive energy thrown in there so you could get through it. And it was a very intense process. And so I just wonder, I cannot be the only one that has gone through this, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about it in a more spiritual community sense of like some hardcore shit happened to me, and yet here I am, awakened and here for it. And it isn't the perspectives you take after you go through this process deepen your awareness of the need for compassion. And so I guess that's why I harp on that a little bit. Having compassion for yourself, having compassion for people who really just, they do not understand the depth of change that occurs in a person once they've been like violently harmed in some way. And then you can kind of see really clearly how hard it actually is for society to like function and come back from this when people are dissociated so much from their trauma, wherever it happened to come from. And so it's important to keep, if you're on the process, keep going, find the things that work for you, and keep going and get to the other side. And as soon as you're able, start talking about it so that people know it's possible. That is my request. So I hope you are well. I hope this helped someone who needed it. And I will see you again soon. Take care.